I don't know why I keep doing that. In my head, sometimes it's advice circle. Shaz, you know how.
I know how it goes. You just say both
Yes.
and then leave it as a surprise.
Great.
Yes.
So it's always a surprise. Welcome to the show.
Thank
You look amazing. You have a Cleopatra vibe going on. What is that?
I've had it for so long, and then I said instead of earrings today, I'm gonna like put
Oh,
something
there are
on
no
my head.
earrings.
Yeah.
Well, I represented you.
There we go.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're talking about something that happens to all relationships today.
Yes.
You know, we all fight.
Yes.
And it's weird to look at it as there's a good way to fight. It just feels like, not good.
Yes.
So are there good ways to do this?
So first, here's the thing I want to say to any couple right now that feels we fight nonstop and we fight so much. You're absolutely normal and it's okay to be fighting. Because research has actually shown couples that actually fight so much in a relationship are more committed to finding love and finding the solution or making a relationship work compared to couples that at some point become, you know, resistant and just sort of feel, I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to go through this. And at some point I might just slip away. I got one foot in the relationship. I got one foot outside. And I don't want to make it work. I'm tired. But couples that fight, and not the couples that fight abusive, physical fight. Yeah. This is just, yes, you can scream and you can get frustrated, and that's only because we don't know how to fight right. But when you are fighting, the first thing is to breathe. Because you might look at so many of your friends and so many couples out there and say, they look so lovey-dovey, they look amazing together, but they don't fight, so something's wrong with us. Okay. So I want to be able to tell any couple, if you are fighting, that is beautiful, because that means there's something worth you in your relationship that you both are just looking for, and you're just not communicating how to be able to do it.
I think that's a good place to start this conversation. So if you're fighting, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yes.
It's okay. But
yes.
We're getting into how we need to fight, the healthy ways of doing that. If you're fighting and you don't know, if you're looking for answers, this is the show for you. 111 that is our SMS line. We're taking a very short break. We'll be right back with Shazmin. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. Where are you watching us from this morning? 111 that is our SMS line. Now, we've established fighting is okay, it's healthy. That means there's something you're fighting for, there's something you're looking for in a relationship. But if we're fighting, then how should we fight? What are the styles that couples should embrace when it comes to fighting for the relationship?
Okay, beautiful question. So what ends up happening is either we fight reactive or we implode inside. So what happens is when you fight reactive, you normally have a trigger. So let's say the trigger is your husband came home and he didn't give you a hug. Okay. So it's the trigger event for you, and then you end up leaving each other feeling very disconnected from that. And now, instead of going into how can we communicate about this, or how do I tell you politely that I'd love you to hug me the minute you walk in, what ends up happening is I now become reactive, and I'll probably shout or be angry or be upset, and that will come out on you. And that immediately then again causes a disconnection between the two of us. Mm-hmm. And now we're reacting to each other. Okay. And so you go into this cycle of reacting, disconnection, reacting, disconnection, until you reach this point in the fight where you're like, either we're exhausted and we're done, and the fight is over because we both cannot fight anymore, we're tired, but the issue's not resolved.
No.
We're still feeling unwanted. I'm still feeling I didn't get your attention. I'm still feeling you did not hear me. And then you have him who walked in, and it's actually known as the most common fight, which is the 5:30 fight.
5:35.
The 5:30 p.m. fight, which is common because, and that's the saying. So it's like the metaphor is the 5:30 p.m. fight, because the minute the man comes home, the woman is like all there, excited. I want to talk to you. I want attention. I want to hear about your day. And he sort of feels, I just need a moment. I just want to put my coat down, maybe sip my tea in silence while I go through my day.
And then you can do all those things later.
Right. And so what's happening in that moment is you're both feeling completely disconnected. And when you have reactive fights, which is the most common fights everyone ends up happening, it leaves you both feeling so disconnected that the first thing you lose in the relationship when two of you feel disconnected is actually the intimacy. Because now no longer do you not want to be touched, do you not want to be held, but you feel like you're two separate entities. We're two separate people arguing and fighting in this relationship. I'm going to walk away feeling wounded and like nobody ever hears me and understands me. And then you'll walk away feeling, I don't know what to do anymore. Why can't I connect with you? But what happens is the stories in these fights that you start to build with each other is what becomes toxic. Because now, instead of us discussing the fight or discussing how to not fight or discussing how to get through the fight, we're both coming up with assumptions in our heads. We're both coming up with stories on what our relationship means. We're then going to go look at Instagram and Facebook on how perfect other couples look. And guess what? This is exactly when you hit the power struggle phase. So if you remember last week, we discussed the 5 stages. Now, power struggle stage is the pure fighting. But how do you come out of the fight is recognizing either it's reactive, so we're both reacting to each other, or we can choose to now consciously fight.
Consciously fight.
Yes.
I don't think it ever feels conscious.
It's will just never. Like, exactly.
It's like Vietnam.
Exactly. Worse. But you know, the thing is when I fight with you or you fight with me, what is happening? So we're looking at deep down inside, there's some sort of a plea that I'm asking for. There's a fear that is going on within that request that's turned out as a reactive fight. And then somewhere deep inside, beyond that fear is, please don't ever abandon or leave me. So I'll give you an example. I had a couple where the wife was smoking for a while, and then they came for the coaching, and they agreed that, you know what, we're going to stop the smoking because it wasn't good for her health. And the husband was going to be really supportive through the process. And so she worked through it. She got through it after 7-8 months. She gave up the cigarettes and she was really great. About, I'd say a good 7 to 8 months later, you get a call. And the husband says, we've been screaming and fighting because I caught her smoking in the garden. And so when we came back to actually analyze what was going on in that fight, so they had been reacting, screaming and shouting for about 2 months. So he's screaming that you're never responsible, you can't do this. She's screaming back now, it's gone beyond you care for me to not do this. She's now screaming that you don't care about what I feel and what I want, and I'm not going to always do what you tell me to do. So she's moved into rebellion, he's moved into defensiveness, he has no like ammunition, how do I come at you? The only way I'm going to get at you is if I'm stronger, if I'm more vocal. And so when we sat down to actually look at what was within, what was going on in the conflict, and this is something so many people, when they turn around to actually realize we're fighting and screaming, but when we take a moment to realize what was the plea. So the plea was, please don't smoke. I'm scared when you do. What was the fear below it was, what if you die and I lose you? And so the request was, please don't ever leave me. I love you so much. I don't want you to smoke because my deepest fear is, what if something happens? They had a family history of cancer. And what if I lose you? I can't ever imagine living a life that way without you. Now imagine saying this to each other versus exploding, screaming, shouting, and fighting.
The first version is better.
But we never get there. We never ever say what we want to say or how it feels, because we're just taught to build things up. We keep so much inside, and I'm not going to consciously look at or analyze what am I really looking for in this moment? What do I really want to say? What is really this plea deep within me in this moment? And then, is there a fear behind this fight? Why am I fighting with you? Because there's a fear driving the fight. And when you have couples that pause and talk this way, you actually have couples have tears in the eyes and say, I don't ever want to hurt you. I don't want to smoke ever again because you are afraid you'll lose me. How beautiful. Like, I don't want to leave you. And so now when you move from reactive fighting to now being able to say, I want to consciously choose to fight with you. So we're going to take a moment, we're going to take a step back and be able to say, okay, what is it that you are requesting me for that I'm not listening to and I'm not hearing? But if we have time out or we get curious about the fights, each other's requests,
Yeah.
I can come back, and instead of me being defensive, I can now sit down and say, let's find a time, let's find a space to be able to say, I call for wanting to talk to you, to have something that's deep inside of me, which will cause me to be vulnerable. So I need all of you there because I'm bringing all of me here to be able to have a discussion. And now it's conscious, which is why it's conscious relationships, because we are so used to being in relationships where we just say what we want when we want, we break boundaries, we hurt the other person, we assume they'll always stay, and then we wonder, how come we're not creating stability in this relationship? Why are we never moving into deeper commitment in our relationship? Why is there a loss of bliss in this relationship? And it's because you never ever leave that little cocoon which creates safety for the two of you, because now I know your fighting style, you know my fighting style. We both know each other's ugly.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay in this, but we're not going to thrive in it. We're just going to stay stuck, because couples don't realize that fighting and choosing to fight consciously is powerful. They just feel we are fighting and I need to run away from this. Something's wrong in this relationship. Couples should never fight. They should never argue. But what happens now when you choose a time to discuss issues?
Yeah.
But how do you discuss the issues now?
Shaz, there'll be an argument where I'm so angry. Let's go back to the hug.
Yes.
So you didn't say hi to me, or you just got in tired and you needed a moment.
Yes.
And so there's that. So you didn't. I'm angry. And when I'm angry, I am explosive.
Yes.
So
And you are not vulnerable.
yes.
Yes.
So I choose to keep quiet, calm down, and maybe I'll pick it up later. And then later, he's so nice. I have not resolved the issue. We just move along. So we did not fight about it. We did not talk about it, but I'm still harboring it. I'm carrying it along with me. Then he does it again, or something else. Or maybe I'll go on Instagram and see all this girls. She's liking, they're liking his pictures, it's liking their pictures and stuff. So it builds up, because I don't want to explode. I don't want to talk at the moment when I'm angry, but then I never get a chance to do it because it feels like we moved on from that.
You didn't move on. What you did is sweep it under the rug, and then the two of you are standing on a rug that now has no balance and no foundation and just waiting to fall off. That's exactly what happens with couples. Now, why don't you bring it up? Because he's pacified a part of you. As human beings, we need variety. So we cannot stay in anger for long.
Yes.
So we will move from anger to sadness, to happiness, back to anger, back to sadness. Because we consistently go in a loop with our emotions, because we also get drained and exhausted. How long can you stay in anger? But we're also conditioned to what triggers us inside. We know what will make us feel bad, and we've become so good at it that instead of us turning around to be able to say, he's come in from a long day of work, I'm going to sit there with a beautiful cup of tea. What does he need when he walks in? I know I need the love and I know I need the hug. What does he or she need first?
Okay.
Once I fill them, what can I turn around, or how can I turn around and say, I'd love us to sit down and have a reactive conversation, which is kind of like tennis. Now in tennis, I serve and then you hit the ball back.
Yes.
And then there are times you serve and I hit the ball back. So it means who calls for, I want to sit and be able to talk to you, to be able to say that this is how I feel. When you come home and you sandwich it, I love that you work so hard for us. It makes me feel special, every single thing that you do for the family. But I've realized something about me. I'm somebody that likes to be hugged or feel some sort of a connection the minute you walk in, because I've missed you the whole day and I feel we would grow as a couple. So you're now saying that to your spouse. But, and it might sound crazy, it might sound scripted, but it is beautiful for conflict resolution, which means after I have said that to you, I've served you.
Yes.
You don't go into defensive because you will repeat what I just said, which shows me you are listening. So you will turn around and say, I understand that. So what you are saying is that when I come home, you would like more connection and a hug because you've missed me the whole day. And I turn around and say, yes, that's exactly how I feel, but I understand that you could also be tired. And you will turn around and say, so you're understanding I could be tired, yet you still want the hug and you still want the connection. So if you look at the difference in that conversation versus every time you come home, you don't hug me.
Yes, because I'm tired.
Okay, but you're always tired.
I work. That's why you have a big fridge.
Well, then I don't want the fridge. I'd rather have the hug.
Then we'll die.
But you see, nobody laughs, okay? Nobody laughs. At
Nobody
some point,
laughs,
you have nothing to
sure.
say. You throw something at the other person.
Yeah.
But do you see the difference with when I come and I sit and I talk to you and I'm vulnerable and I choose to have a reactive conversation, I'm being vulnerable and open to share with you what I want. But in you repeating back what I have said, first you hear me, you will understand me, I will feel heard, I will feel you've understood me.
Yeah.
We take away the element of a fight is about to brew. Because as a woman, as a man, you give power back. You don't take power away. Which means when I say we need to have a chat, you're not coming to that chat saying, oh,
Here we go.
Yes.
Defense mode. I'm ready for it. Or like, I'm not going to come. I don't like it when you say that. So they don't even show up.
right. And boxing gloves are on and you're
Yes.
kind of, and now you're seeing that visually and you're thinking, that's the size of your boxing gloves? Wait, I've not even started talking. I'm going to put mine on.
Yeah.
And so the both of you are already sitting there ready for a fight. But the fight, the plea is all at the end of it. If you look at what is the bottom of the fight, I just want love. I just want more of you. I want your attention because
Yeah.
I want it from nobody else.
And see what happened with the conversation we just had. We moved from a hug to now we'll die hungry
Yes.
to, oh, you know, I do this for you. So we're moving away from the fact that all you needed was a simple, beautiful hug and connection when I got home.
Exactly.
What are you fighting about? Because we're taking a very short commercial break and Shazmin will be here to just answer all of your questions. What are you fighting about currently? Is it a consistent fight? And have you mastered the way to fight correctly in your relationship or not? 111 444 111, that is our SMS line. We'll be right back with Shazmin. Welcome back. Welcome back to Full Circle. Shazmin is here, and we have just a bit more to go just before we get into your questions. Shaz, you were talking about some other different kind of fights.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you either, so remember, be attentive to, are we reflecting through the fight or are we reacting through the fight?
Okay.
Because the two ways you end up handling fights, which will answer so many people's questions, is, am I being a hailstorm in the fight, which means am I being protestant? Am I coming at you with everything I have and I'm going to push it and push it and push it until, if you're a turtle, I have you withdraw into your shell. So it's like a hailstorm. You're just pounding the thunder, the rain. It's so toxic. And so what the turtle does ends up moving to the shell because they are very used to not dealing with conflict. They're the people that go silent, they stonewall, they feel, I rather run away. And then when the situation calms down, I tend to poke my head out. And then like a little tortoise, I'm just going to continue walking, ignore the fact that we had a huge fight, but the hailstorm is fully aware.
Yeah.
They're kind of like up there waiting for you. The minute you poke your head out, I'm coming right back for you. I'm going to like hailstorm until you hear me.
Okay.
And so normally you have the turtle, which will criticize the hailstorm and sort of say you're somebody that's very emotional, you're overstrong, you're dominating, you're empowering in the relationship. And you will have the turtle, the hailstorm, that will always criticize the turtle, saying, you know, you're cold, you're aloof, you don't speak, you don't talk, you consistently stonewall the relationship. And that's why we're butting heads. But they're beautiful together as a couple, which means when you take a moment to say, what are we butting heads about?
Yeah.
What is the underlying that both of us want out of the relationship? How do we consciously choose this fight so that both of us now know it is not the trigger, the reaction, disconnection. It is now trigger. There might be a bit of disconnection, but we both move into a place of, okay, it's us against the problem. Because some of the three most common problems couples fight about are family, you fight about money, and then you fight about a lack of attention. And it all just rotates around those three things.
Great.
Yes.
I was just there thinking, I see a hailstorm somewhere in here. Hi, Mwikali. So we're getting into the questions. Mzee akikam kwa hao akiwa amelewa, then hataki kuulizwa maswali na pia anaanza vita. Hiyo ni love bado? Well, they're fighting. This is the not healthy one. Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay.
So he comes home and he's upset and he's fighting when
he comes home drunk, doesn't want to
Okay.
be asked questions, and when he's asked, he turns violent. And so that kind of fight, is that still love?
No, because that fight means I'm just not aware. I'm not part of the relationship. I don't care about how you feel. I'll consistently choose me. The point of a healthy fight and consistently fighting is we consistently choose each other in the fight.
Yes.
It's not me against you or just me and I don't care about you. So that is a fight that needs to be addressed in a completely different way when he's sober, with him understanding at some point, how long will I tolerate this? For me, it's too toxic. The relationship's not bringing out not only my self-confidence, but the beauty inside of me, but it's sucking the life out of our relationship. So at some point you need to choose, is that the lifestyle you want? And then I need to make a decision, is that the lifestyle I want to be a part of? And for how long?
Okay. We have one here from Mariam Wangeshi who says, Hi Mikali, for me silent treatment works for both of us. I'm not the kind who will shout, but will tend to be silent for some time to analyze the situation.
Which is great, as long as then at some point you move past the silent and past analyzing to actually solving.
Okay.
Because then you will consistently stay silent for a very long period of time, but then in your silence sometimes you feel lonely. So it's always about, I took a moment out, we took a break, we took time out in this fight, but we come back together as the team and we look at the problem on the same side and the problems on the other side, and we both say, how do we tackle this as a team? Okay. What will make you feel loved and comfortable as we go through this problem, and what can I do for you at the same time? So how are we both making each other feel loved and comfortable as we look at that problem together?
Okay. We have Wanjiro here who says, sometimes it's better to be silent for a while to cool down the temper. But for me, I prefer to tell you what's on my mind and you won't understand me. I prefer I tell you what's on my mind and you won't understand me. And if you don't understand me, I'll just keep quiet, and that's the best medicine for peace to reign in the house, other than arguing forever with one issue.
Right, but is there really peace? Is there peace in the house and what people could visually see as peace, but inside you're in consistent turmoil? And this is why I tell couples it's okay to have problems, but when you choose to go silent on a problem, means that in your mind there's no resolution that can come from it. So I've tried so many avenues in my head to solve it. Then I've tried so many ways with you together to solve it, but we either end up never solving it. So what I'm going to do is just back off, keep quiet for a certain amount of time until I stack on the next couple of problems, and then I will tell you all about it again. But I'm in complete pain and turmoil inside. I feel lonely. A healthy relationship doesn't have two people go silent on each other with a problem.
Okay.
A healthy relationship means I can see there's a problem, and if it's causing you pain, my day will come to a halt, or my evening will come to a halt, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what is hurting you, what is causing pain, and I'm not going to be defensive. I'm going to repeat everything you say so that I also acknowledge and understand what matters to you. And when I repeat and do that for you, you might turn around and be able to say, actually, what I did mean, and then you hear it back and you might even change it a little bit. So going silent isn't healthy, because at some point that means I'm numb to the fact that problems in our relationship won't get solved. So I feel you rather talk it, you rather argue it, you rather healthily sit down and solve it, but never go silent on each other.
Okay. Brick Boss says, fighting for us isn't physical, but we argue, which is normal to me, but we've never argued on an issue twice. We disagree to agree.
Okay, but then I wonder, when you disagree to agree, does it mean that I won and you lost? Or we both came out of something understanding why we disagreed, we understand the bigger picture to the disagreement, and we both walked away feeling connected, loved, with passion. We can still be intimate in the evening because we both are winning. So is it, this is my opinion, that's your opinion, I'm not budging.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, we agreed to disagree, I don't care. That's not healthy. It should be, okay, that's how you're feeling right now. Let's look at it in 5 minutes. I want to understand why you're holding your stance. I want to understand why you're passionate about not letting what you're saying go. Maybe I'm not hearing it. Maybe I'm not hearing you correctly, and I could be wrong. So it's about choosing each other to fight fights out beautifully together.
Okay. Emmanuel says it is normal. Yes, it is normal and healthy, the fighting, because that is the only opportunity you will learn to know more about your partner and how you will work together as a team to overcome the same. Tuned in from Bomet. Thank you. Liz, you are fighting the healthy fight.
Yes.
Mounty Meshach says, morning, Mikali. I am Mesh from Kitui County. It's not healthy at all. Imagine being silent for a while. How will that house be? Stress tupu. And that is exactly what you've been insisting on. Because I think
Exactly.
most of the time we just choose to be like, I'll just be silent about this. I won't fight about this. Let's just move on and see. But then the fact that you haven't addressed it, that means the same thing will recur.
Yes, or you're dealing with the deepest loneliness.
Yes.
So now you start to have mind games, which is, I'm lonely, they don't understand me, I don't think this relationship's right for me. And that's why in the power struggle stage, all couples tend to sometimes break up. Because it's like, we can't seem to resolve conflict. We're not on the same side. We see life explosively different. We're not reacting and reflecting beautifully to each other. So this isn't working out. I'm going to go and find somebody else I can be in the romance stage with again, where we don't argue and fight. But then that loop starts all over again. Yes.
Mikali, good morning. I'm the type of Cold War when I'm upset, especially when he repeats a mistake, because I don't want to say the wrong thing and regret. My partner is the type that he wants to talk even when we are mad at each other. How do we make this work?
Beautiful.
Fatma.
So
Okay.
I would tell him that if your beautiful Fatma says, I'm this Cold War, then I would come with a hot drink first to calm you down. But I would also turn around and say that if you're somebody that feels, you know, you can't keep it in, is she saying she can't keep it in, she has to
She
talk
has
it.
to talk about it. She
Right.
has to fight, and the husband, she doesn't want to fight immediately. So Cold War, she just keeps quiet, and the gentleman wants to deal with it immediately, even if we are mad at each other.
Okay, so I love it because it's the other way around. Because normally the woman wants to deal with it immediately and the guy just sort of wants. So that already shows you your dynamic. You're the turtle and he's the hailstorm. So you want to retreat, take a breather, go in your shell, feel protected, analyze, come out a little stronger, and he's still going. Your head goes back in, he's still going, your head comes out, the hailstorm's still there. So what I would say the best thing to do is, in this situation, if he feels things need to come out, ask him for time out. Say that anything we're going to say in this situation right now is going to have me withdraw more and is going to have you react to me more. Let's come back and practice the technique of, it's tennis. Are you going first or am I going first? Okay. And then we sit down and tell me exactly what you felt from this fight. Let's look at why we began fighting. Where did we end up in the fight? What are the issues that haven't been resolved? How can we resolve one at a time? And if we probably even resolve one by listening, not hearing, being present while I listen, we will learn how to solve the domino effect of all the other fights that we have. So it's time out, I feel sometimes is beautiful. But if as a couple, someone can take the lead with laughter, with cracking a joke, with making it funny. Because sometimes you're so angry you don't want to laugh, but you can't help it. But then you do, you giggle. And suddenly all of that emotion comes down. a touch. So when you're sitting and somebody is upset and angry, you can touch them. Let them know I'm here. You know, I'm going to hold you. I'm just going to put my hand on your knee, but I'm here for you. And some couples don't like that. They might be like, don't touch me. But then it could be, I'm not going. I'm not moving until this fight is solved. And it makes the other person who just feels like I'm so reactive and I'm coming at you feel a bit more safe. I can calm down. I don't need to scream louder because they're not going anywhere.
Okay.
They're ready to hear me.
Okay. That's beautiful. Hello, Mikali and Shazmeen. We fight every time my hubby is drunk. He says he'll quit, but he doesn't. He's so abusive when drunk. I feel like I'm tired of all these fights. What do I do, please? So it feels like they only fight when he's drunk, and he's abusive when he's drunk.
Because he's not hearing. Her plea probably is, every time you're drunk, maybe my fear is something could happen to you. And under all of that fighting is, I love you and I don't want to lose you. And I just wish you wouldn't do this one thing that would be able to help our marriage. Okay. But sometimes in situations like this, where there's alcohol or there is an addiction, it's deeper. It means sometimes you need family intervention, or you need to be a bit stronger, where the person understands life is going to reach an alternative. It's me and our happiness together, or it's you and us miserable. But I don't want to spend the rest of my life going through the same pattern. Yeah. I want growth. I want love. I have a vision. So at some point you have to jump on board, because my vision is better than yours.
Okay. Okay. Susan from Nanyuki says, my husband ananileaga. What is that? Kila kitu, but anatokaga job late. Ananipeaga. They give me everything, but anatokanga job late. Na hadi akitoka job anakaanga tu kwa TV. Apendangi story zangu. Hata nikimforce aje. What can I do? So this, I think, goes back to the very first example that we had on the show.
Exactly, which is he's giving you everything you want except what you really want. Yeah. So you might materialistically get everything, but how long does that make you happy? So what you actually want is his attention. So this is the time when, if he's sitting and he just wants to watch TV, what if you slide next to him quietly and you just sit with him for a while without wanting to be about all I want to do, all I want to say, all I want to talk about? I'm just going to sit with you and maybe just enjoy that attention for now. And then at some point, I'll find a way to show you I appreciate, because clearly his language of love might be, here I am, I give you everything you want. I work hard to make you happy in what I feel would make you happy. But what she's really looking for is attention. Yeah. So it's to be able to tell him, I appreciate everything you do for me. I love it and I'm comfortable. But right now, I just want to sit with you, and because I want your attention, I'm just going to sit right next to you and not disturb you and enjoy whatever it is you're watching.
Okay.
But then it's learning how to find, that beautiful balance with each other. It's not always I'm not getting and I'm going to fight until I get. Okay. It's learning how to compromise to get what you both want.
Just snuggle next to him. See how that goes. Good morning, Mikali. My husband always huwa ananinyamazia bila sababu. Na nikimuuliza ni nini mbaya, anasema hakuna. Hii kitu huwa inaniumiza sana, na nimemwambia mara moja, but hachange. What should I do?
Okay, so if he's always staying quiet, maybe a different environment to talk in. Is there a hobby he has? Is there a different interest he has that you could take him to do and be or do with him? And then when he's in that environment, maybe talk to him in a different language. Maybe sometimes men don't come or like when we come so direct at them. It's like they're feeling all this emotion and they're like in a slightly more logical place and they feel like, how do I handle all this emotion? Maybe taking a breather and doing it in his environment, his time and his space, he will probably now be more perceptive to be able to listen to you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Mikali and Shaz. Nice topic there. What if you're the only one who brings up a talk when you feel there's conflict? Your partner is just silent. Those ones who will never have a problem with you at all? Yes. So you're the only one who has issues and you'll just be like, so I need us to talk. So you do it so many times. You are always serving.
Yes.
And nothing is coming back your way.
Okay, so this is beautiful, because I would look at what does come your way. So I would challenge couples that have that problem to be able to say, what's not coming your way is what you want. but what is coming your way that you're not seeing that you could start with? Because they probably always is love coming in a different way, but you're so bent on wanting it in a particular way that you switch off seeing any other sign. He doesn't do anything, and then this is when he starts to, explain, what do you mean I don't do anything? And he lists the things that he does do.
Yeah.
But it's now for you to be able to sandwich. So you acknowledge love, you put in the request, and then you sandwich. So you close that request with leaving the person on a high. So it's how you also approach. So he's probably got the mentality of, I know her. There's always, she's going to come at me with something sooner or later, and I've learned to be smart and maybe keep quiet and not come at her back. Maybe what he thinks is all you want is to talk and get it off your chest, where you're looking for an action after the talking.
Yes.
So tell him what it is exactly that you want. Because sometimes we wait for men to be Sherlock Holmes, but their hat to put on is so far away.
Yeah.
You might as well just tell them, this is what I'm looking for, and I'd love if you did this for me. It'll make me feel loved.
Oh, no, our time is up. Our time is up. Our time is up. Thank you so much for coming through, Shazmin.
Thank you.
I hope you've learned how to fight. And you've taken time to look at how you've fought your battles before and where you just need to kidogo. Shaz, your social media handles, please slide in. You know she likes that. Just get in the DM with the questions and she'll definitely help you out.
Yes, so you can reach me on @BeingRealNow. I've got a beautiful podcast you guys can listen to. But remember, in everything, when you fight, learn how to fight right. Learn how to love the person below the fight. Learn to even push the fight away and be vulnerable to ask for exactly what you want. Because love can be so beautiful when you make it simple. Thank you.
We're going to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back. This is Full Circle with Mukali.